I know that the holiday is right around the corner, and I wanted to take this opportunity to do a look, keeping it very simple and easy, but a little bit different. Just a little twist on a very easy, simple look that I would probably wear pretty often. Now, of course, as I often say, I do skip lashes on most days because I personally don't feel like I need them. You could definitely do that, but I have my Holy Grail mascara that never disappoints me and gives me the best lashes ever, so I will share with you that product in the video, and if you've been here for some time, you probably know what it is, but you can definitely feel free to throw on some falsies, full strip, outer corner, individual flares. You take this any way you want, and I use this kind of magenta pink color liquid liner from NYX. You don't have to do this color. You don't have to do the little extra little dots to make it just a little bit fun and kind of, you know, a little sassy because it is Valentine's Day. You don't have to do that, but I wanted to do something different, but yet keep it kind of safe on the eyes, that I feel like most of us can kind of wear these tones with pretty much any outfit we're wearing for that special occasion. And even if you don't celebrate the Valentine's Day holiday, then you can still do something like this any other time. So I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I do. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will show you exactly how to do the entire look from start to finish. All right, so we got to take care of these lips because ain't nobody trying to kiss up on no dry, flaky lips, right? So I'm taking the Red Velvet Sprinkles Lip Scrub. It's a sugar scrub, which I love, and I'm just using my finger to apply it. This makes your lips really smooth. I do this a couple times a week. Sometimes I do it at night before bed. I really like this stuff, and it is a little bit pricey, but honestly, it's really good, and it tastes so good. So I'm just using my finger to apply that and just massage it in really well. Get all around the lip line, all of the lip area so that it's nice and soft, and then I take a washcloth and I remove the excess because technically you probably could eat it because it's made out of sugar, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then I'm going in with the Sarah Happ, the Lip Slip. This is a really nice thick lip balm that I use all the time, every morning, every night, throughout the day. I love this stuff. It's really thick, but it does hydrate and keep the lips really nice and soft. All right, so it's time for some foundation. I'm going to take this sample of the Clinique Even Better Foundation, which I did purchase the full size, and I have it in the shade number 24 Linen, and it seems to be a really good match, and I have enjoyed this foundation quite a bit. So I'm going to apply this like little dots all over my face, and I'm going to be using more on my cheeks and not so much through my T-zone because my T-zone is pretty even. The problem areas are my cheeks where I have these scars from recent breakouts from last month. And I'm going to be using this triangular shaped sponge. This is from Posh. I got mine at Kmart. It came in a 2-pack. And I don't know if they make this anymore, but any beauty sponge works really well for applying foundations. I have had pretty good luck with this one and also the ones from Real Techniques, and of course the classic beauty blender. Those seem to work really well. So I like using the sponges to blend the foundation because it makes everything look really smooth, very natural, and it absorbs any excess product so it doesn't end up being too much on your skin. One tip that I would recommend is making sure that you wring out as much of the water as possible because you just want it to be damp. So that way you get the most natural finish, and it doesn't make your skin look too wet and glossy if you have too much water and moisture on your sponge. Next, for the under eyes, I'm going to take this Pixi Correction Concentrate in Brightening Peach with a Real Techniques brush, and I'm just going to apply this to the areas where it's really dark, and I wanted to kind of color correct it a little bit so that you don't see it as much, and just in a way make the under eye area look as perfect as possible. And I'm going to take the very edge of the sponge and kind of pinch it together and blend this into the under eye area. As I've said before, this is a really good brightener if you've never tried one or if you're looking for one. This is from Pixi that's available at Target. It's around, I think, $15 or so, and it really does work, and it brightens up the under eye area and kind of creates a base for my concealer, which is the Smashbox Studio Skin Concealer. I have it in the shade Light, and I love this concealer. It covers so beautifully. It blends in so great, and again, using that tip of that sponge to blend that in. It doesn't cling to the dryness. It doesn't make my under eye area look old and dry and kind of like disgusting like I've had with some other more expensive
makeup forever concealers, and that's why I just love this. And I just go back and add a little bit more, and I forgot that I did forget that I had this on the side, so I do really like this sponge. This is from Real Techniques, and it came in a pack of 2 as well. I think it was like $6, and these are so good, you guys. Like, I love that. And then for my scars, I do like to take some of the concealer, the same Smashbox one. I start with it on the back of the hand, and I use a damp beauty sponge to apply it. And I'm going to sort of layer this a little bit as I go, because I want to make sure that it doesn't look cakey or heavy in those areas, especially because I have such a large area to cover. And what I'm doing is using that tip of the sponge and relying on that as the form to sort of pinpoint conceal exactly right on top of the scar, and then using the rest of the sponge to kind of blend it in a way. It's kind of hard to explain, but maybe you can see here as I'm doing it, I'm using the tip to apply it and then kind of using other parts of the sponge to kind of flatten it and kind of smooth it out. And that's why I love this concealer. It works so beautifully over the skin. Then to set everything, I have 2 setting powders. The pink one is the Vanilla Rose from Bésame, which is what I use to set my under eye concealer. I use the same little sponge. It's the perfect cut. And I have a review on this sponge if you guys are interested in, and I'll link it above my head here in this clip so you can see that video. I love these sponges for everything. I'm telling you guys, these are great. So I use the Bésame powder to help brighten up. I do really love the pink one. It came in a set of 3 for the holidays, and I use the pink Vanilla Rose one more than the lavender and the yellow. And then for the rest of my face, I use the Cinema Secrets Ultralucent Setting Powder. It was the larger compact that I showed you with the gray cap, and that is my go-to setting powder because it's so thin, so lightweight, and it just makes everything look so good. And I use the same sponge that I use to apply my foundations to apply it. Then for bronzing, I'm using this palette, the My Sculpted Face from It Cosmetics, which is available through Ulta. They've recently repackaged it, and the pans themselves have like an embossed like little design on it. So it'll look a little different than the one I have here. Mine is a little bit older, but you don't have to have this specific product. I just wanted to use it because I'm trying to use some of the things that I have that I've forgotten about. So kind of some rediscovered favorites. And I'm using my favorite brush of all time. This is the Real Techniques Multitask. That is one brush that I would recommend to everyone. It's perfect for bronzing, contouring, blending in powders, blush. Heck, you can even highlight it. You can just kind of pinch it and highlight. And speaking of highlight, I'm going in with my favorite highlight, the Laura Mercier. This is the Baked Matte Radiance highlight in shade 01. Adding to the tops of the cheekbone with an eyeshadow brush and down the bridge of the nose, the Cupid's bow. And I will take just a little bit in the center of the forehead just because I think it gives such a pretty glow to the skin, not too much. And of course under the brow. And then speaking of brows, I'm going to do a little fancy magic trick because editing and move on. So for the eyes, I'm taking this light beige eyeshadow that is matte from the Tartelette in Bloom palette, which is a great palette, by the way, to set my concealer and make sure that everything is really great and smooth before applying my transition shade, which is a very soft light tan. And I'm using the colors from this palette because it's actually a really good palette and it's worth every penny. And so I like the sort of natural tones that this has, neutrals. So I'm going to take this light tan and start building up my crease just using windshield wiper motions. And the brush that I'm using is a Sigma E25, which it does all the work for you. So I highly recommend that brush. I'm not a huge Sigma fan, and that's one of the only ones that I like. And then of course I like to take a more pointed brush to intensify the color and concentrate it a little bit lower. So this is going to be in like my actual real natural crease, whereas before it was just a little bit higher, and now we're going a little lower so that it creates a little bit of dimension and it creates a varying tone. And then to kind of deepen everything up, I'm going to take a darker tan shade. It's just about 2 shades darker than the one that I had already applied, and the same kind of pointed crease brush. And I'm going to really start packing on this color, really making the color a lot more intense and building up that color. And these actually layer beautifully, so you can sit here and add layer upon layer and build it up and actually see a noticeable difference, which is why I love this palette. And I'm just going to focus on applying this to the crease area and the outer V, and then going back in with that Sigma E25 brush to blend everything together to make sure everything is really nice and soft and smoothing out those edges. Then for the lower lash line, I'm going to take that same brown color and I'm going to use a small little detail brush to apply it to the lower lashes. And it looks a little thick, but I'm going to go back in and blend it out with whatever's left on that brush that I use in the crease. And it's just going to kind of soften everything out, get rid of those harsh edges and lines. And then we're going to go into the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette from Too Faced. Haven't picked this up in a while. I love this palette too. This is the shade called Truffle. And I'm fast forwarding these clips because I was here for a very, very long time. And I use this really small crease brush to define my outer V and really layer this color and create some kind of smokiness, but keeping it within the brown tones, which the shade was called Truffle, by the way. And I was here for a minute because that brush from Eco Tools was a little bit stiff and I wasn't really digging it very much. So I just kept sort of pushing through it and kept adding some of the color. I think it's just the brush. So then I went back and switched to the Sigma E25. I have two of them. This one's a little bit flatter because it's more new. I haven't used it as much. And then I was able to really get that rounded shape that I was looking for. And I really kept that color to the outer V. I'm not going in too deep into the crease or too much onto the lid. Then I'm also going to take that same brown and that same detail brush from earlier and apply it right over that light tan shade to kind of make the under eye area look a little bit smoky. And I know it kind of seems all over the place with different palettes, but we're getting somewhere, people. And then I'm going to just blend everything out again with the same brush. Then I'm taking this one, I believe it's called Butter Pecan. It's just a shimmery kind of champagne color. That's going to be the inner corner highlight. And I'm using a small detail brush as well from Zoeva that I like as well. And I'm taking that under the brow bone too, just to kind of create a bit of a pop and a pretty little glow there. Then we have to do some eyeliner. I like to tight line as always. I'm using just the Bobbi Brown. This is like the waterproof liner in black. And this creates really thick lashes or gives the illusion of thick lashes. And then I have this really small brush from Real Techniques, and what I'm doing here is creating the line for my winged liner with the same dark brown that I use in the outer V to create like a stencil or an outline before going in with my liquid liner, which you guys know is the Lancôme Grandiôse. Love this stuff. And I did do a wing today just because I felt a little sassy and I thought it would go really well with the little extra sassiness that we're going to do here in a little while. Since I started doing that little outline with the eyeshadow, it has made it so much easier for me to do wing liner. And the best part is that both freaking wings look exactly the same. And sometimes it'll be off here and there, but wing liner, the struggle is real. You guys know if you do wing liner, it is hard, but you know what? We're going to push through it. Then for the extra little sass, I'm taking the NYX Vivid Brights liquid liner. And this is in the shade called Vivid Fire. And I'm doing 3 little dots right as the wing ends with the black eyeliner. It's going to sort of fade into like these little red dots, and it's like a dark magenta pink color, and that's what it looks like with mascara and the little dots. I think it's so cute, you guys, and so different. So time to finish up this face because I'm looking pretty pale. I'm taking a coral and a berry blush, both from Smashbox, and I am applying that to the apples of my cheek just to give me a really pretty pop of like a rosy pink. It looks so pretty and so fresh and youthful. So of course for Valentine's Day, why not? And then for lips, taking a lip liner in the shade All Natural from Milani and lining and filling my lips. And I did overline my lips just a tad to give myself that little juicy kind of puckered look. And then the liquid lipstick is from Jouer in the shade called Terra. And it's a really pretty shade. It's a little deeper of a nude. And I chose a Longwear liquid lipstick because it's going to stay put through eating and just going out and celebrating and, you know, anything else. You don't want it to transfer. You guys get it, okay? I don't have to say it. So this is the entire look. I hope you guys liked it.
Alright guys, so that completes the look. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. I think this is definitely something that I could do for Valentine's Day, and even you can do it as well. It's just a simple little extra step that really makes this look a little bit different because the eyes, honestly, the tones of colors that we use are very simple and very everyday, which is my style. This is what I like to wear. I try not to go too warm with it so that it appeals to more people because I love my warm tones, but not everybody does. So I hope that this was kind of, in a way, giving you an idea. Hopefully it inspired you to do something a little different for your makeup for Valentine's Day if you're going out and celebrating it And if you're not, and you still want to go out, then you do you, and I hope that you have a great time. Whatever it is that you're going to do for the holiday, have a fabulous time. Thank you so much for spending some of your day here with me. Please subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I have Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It's always listed in the description box. I listed everything that I used for this entire look down in the description box, including the brows, so that you can maybe do a screenshot if you're interested in buying any of the products the next time you go to the store. So have a great time, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.